Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
I love you.
I know.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Be a Movie Snob. We're still talking about Oscar contenders. And my fellow ring compadres are weighing in at one.
Hold on.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to stop you right there.
What year are we talking? High school?
Oh, sorry, guys. You didn't give me the notes on that one, by the way.
Rewind. Begin again.
From the observation deck behind the microphone, so wait's not needed for any of this information. Coming to you live, the moneymaker Mariah.
Hello.
Hey, glad to have you here.
Hey.
And the
see you,
always
Mariah.
punctual, the always present, the always Pat.
Okay.
It's Pat.
Hey. Look at that alliteration.
Good
Hey,
to have
guys.
Hey,
Hey,
Pat.
folks.
Good to have you, Pat. And it's yours
Good to
truly.
be here.
It's the guy with the gear.
Seat.
It's Seat or Seth or the worst I've ever got is sex. I've been called that before, and it was
Hey.
in a very awkward
Topical.
situation. Yeah. Speaking of which,
I can't imagine it wouldn't be a normal
no.
situation.
Let's just say other countries don't have the theta sound, and so.
Oh.
As someone who's lived in other countries, they introduced me not once, not twice, but thrice as, oh, and your name is Sex? I'm like, Seth. Sex? Seth. Sex. We're good. Moving on. You can call me
Anyway.
Mr. Halligan. It's cool.
For those of you playing the How to Be a Movie Sub drinking game, Seth did mention living in another country. So that's
Boom.
a
That's
drink.
first one. But I haven't mentioned which country yet. So that's part 2 for your BI. Coming to you live. Guys, we have a great movie today. It is a doozy. Yeah.
There's number 2. Second drink.
Ooh,
Yeah.
doozy. I don't even want to start this intro. Pat, give me an intro. Give me some of the stuff that makes this movie just wow.
Doozerific.
Yes.
Well, it's your boy Yorgos Lanthimos, who only
boy.
lives in the world of surreal something.
Oh, everything.
There's always a twist on the worlds he creates,
Mhm.
and this is more out there in some ways than others. This is
Oh,
we
yeah.
watched Poor Things, starring the
Wow,
wonderful Emma
Pat, your
Stone.
build up to Poor Things. That I don't want to say it's the worst we've had, but it's got to be close. You like barely slipped it in on the back end of a sentence, like it's Poor Things. We got to work on that, buddy.
It's Poor Things.
There we go. Now we're talking. Okay, now keep that energy and continue. Boom.
Starring the wonderful Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe, Rami Youssef.
Nice.
Who did I miss out of the main cast?
You got William Defriend. You got Hey Abbott.
Christopher
Christopher
Abbott.
Abbott.
Jared Carmichael.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But
And
yeah,
others.
what a surreal journey through what it is to be a human growing up. Consent,
Whoa. Wow, that went quick back.
bodily autonomy,
Wow. Okay, we're going there already. Okay.
science,
Um,
religion.
There we go. A little
it
bit.
Goes
Yeah.
a lot of places.
Not as much as it maybe
Both-
feels, but yeah.
Lack of inhibition.
both philosophically and literally.
And too much inhibition on
depending
some
on if
people's
you-
parts. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
this is an exploratory movie on what it means to be human. Honestly, that might be the summary right there.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys?
It's a very odd anatomy lesson.
But yeah, anyway. Well, and it is a modern retelling of Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
That was what Alistair said he was out to do, supposedly. Alistair Gray, the author of the 1992 models, also titled Poor Things.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. That is such a bummer. Imagine you get your screenplay finally like picked up by a killer director, and you start talking and you pass away before the movie comes out. And oh my goodness, I read that. I'm like, oh, Alistair. Because he started his own version of it, apparently. He had already started his own screenplay, and I was like, anyways. Okay. We're jumping ahead, folks.
Well, he did get screenwriting credit.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Not
I didn't
just
know that.
story by, right?
Oh, good. I didn't know that. So you go, Alistair.
I think so.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Mariah, we've already talked about it, but give us some more specifics. Guys, this is a part of the show we call the Summarizing.
We're going to get Pacific Northwest in here.
Oh, we didn't hot
Coast.
take.
Oh, hot takes.
Goodness
Pat,
gracious.
we're off it. This movie's out there, guys.
I know.
We're
You shouldn't let
limping
me
to the
talk
finish
first.
line of these
Yeah.
Oscar noms,
So,
guys.
in conclusion,
So what's my review?
Have a good night, everybody.
it's all, folks.
They were like, "Hey, wrapped it up quick,
That was
shorter than the
great.
movie."
Yeah.
First time. No.
First time.
Uh,
All right, hot take. Here we go.
So here's my hot take, and I'll try and defend it later. We'll see. Kimberly did not buy it, but I thought of the Yorgos movies I've seen, which is not all of them, the performances in this one were actually more natural, but the world was more surreal. Where I think in the other movies, his world is somewhat real. Again, I haven't seen The Favorite.
I
but
would agree
the
with that for the
performances
favorite comparison.
are so weird. And so, yeah, I feel like he flipped it. But of course, then you can go, well, Mark Ruffalo wasn't playing it perfectly straight. So, I don't know. That's my hot take. That's why it's hot.
I'll be honest. As a guy who doesn't see any of his movies, it's hard for me to know if that's a hot take. I'm just going to be real. But Mariah's right with you on that, son. Okay, Mariah.
I'm kind of in a, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Coolest animals.
Dope.
And why don't we make those in real life?
Ow.
Yeah, so my hot take's really a question and a wish list, maybe.
There we go.
For my birthday,
Was it the
I would
pig
like
duck?
a
Was the pig duck your favorite?
pig duck, please.
That was a good
Or
one.
the dog goose.
Yeah.
Or the llama homicidal maniac. Or I guess it was
Goat.
a goat homicidal maniac. Yeah.
Goat brain, cute guy.
Goat brain, cute guy who's a horrible person.
It'd
Final
be
folks,
funny to have that guy walking around outside eating all
It'd
the
be pretty great.
shrubberies.
It'd be pretty great.
Till he's
folks-
like pooping and stuff, then it's a little less
nose goes.
fun.
There will be spoilers. Just a little heads up for all you listeners out there.
As always.
we will spoil the heck out of it. But I just want to say one thing: this movie can't be spoiled because you know what? It's so. The plot is.
Yeah,
the
we
least
can tell you what
important thing.
happens, but
you know
not.
Frankenstein?
Yeah,
It's like that
it's like that
in some ways.
in very few ways, surprisingly. For as much cutting of the human flesh that goes on this movie, it's not as much like Frankenstein.
I would
is,
say Frankenstein, the next generation,
I guess, in Dr. Seuss land.
because God is really the monster. and,
Godwind.
You know.
well, there's still the question of just because you can, should you, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
for sure. Okay.
With
There's
the
still
animals,
questions of that.
absolutely.
Mariah's
Without a doubt.
pro.
I
Those
loved.
animals, I'm sure were.
Okay.
just as
They
happy
didn't
as
look
ever were.
sad.
You ready for this? My hot take. Hot take for this movie is William Dafoe's role was underrated and Mark Ruffalo's role was overrated. I thought
Okay.
I like-
Mark Ruffalo
I like
still
that hot take.
feels like Mark Ruffalo, and William Dafoe's subtleness and hilarity. He has like some of the best punchlines because of his subtlety in the movie that I found myself laughing out loud several times. And and first of all, Mark Ruffalo, nothing but love for the Ruffalo. Because you had some when he was cussing in the streets of Paris was like one of my favorite moments in the movie. But
Or
it
in the
was,
mental institution.
it's still
really anywhere.
It still felt like the guy playing Hulk was yelling on the streets of Paris. So while Emma Stone,
okay.
I literally didn't know it was Emma Stone. Like I watched La La Land last month, and I was like, nope, not the same actress. This is different. That's not the same. So that's my hot take.
Okay.
Yeah, not so. I don't know if it's so.
I don't
hot.
disagree with that.
Yeah. So there we go. Okay, now back onto the summarizing. We're getting back in order, folks. Thank you for keeping this train on the tracks.
Whoever did that,
Toot, toot.
not me.
All right, give us some names, Mariah, so we can kind of really rip into this thing.
All right. Well, we start in Victorian London. That's where the beginning of this movie is based.
At a very vague time.
Yeah.
Vague time with future
Yeah.
and past altogether.
A young pregnant woman throws herself off a bridge.
Which we don't know she's pregnant, by the way, so let's omit that.
Not till she's getting.
I would like to strike that
Not
from the
till
record.
she's a cadaver.
I would like to strike that, because we don't even know that later till Defoe's character explains it. Right?
Till they pull. Well, till she's laying on a table with a big
But
belly.
technically,
Oh, I didn't even see the bill. That's right. Okay, thank you. I've seen it twice, and I still forget it.
Hello?
Oh, my gosh. Thank you, Mariah.
So they cut. I mean, this is kind of a not realistic.
What?
But apparently, after all that drowning, the baby was still alive, and they took the baby's brain, put it in her head,
she's freshly drowned.
As one does.
as one.
Because there's
you
still
know-
electricity in the woman, as you said. Or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I do have to say one thing that was the most off-putting to me was like, if the baby's still alive, let the baby live. But in the book, they're more specific that it's a premature baby that wouldn't live.
Oh,
So
it wouldn't
it's
have survived.
so it wouldn't survive. But they do not say that in the movie. So,
So
you're
it's
like
a really
Yeah,
underdeveloped
yes.
brain.
So it was like really like troubling because I'm like, just save the baby.
Yeah.
Just save the baby. But apparently in the book they're more specific about it. So that it was less of
Some
a
reasoning.
yes. But in the movie, you're like, you
Well,
are
obviously, they were okay with that.
yes, and maybe they did that on
craziness.
purpose to make that even more morally ambiguous.
God was being
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Godwin.
a little more dark.
Yeah. So Dr. Godwin Baxter does this. And he basically has a full-grown woman with a itty-bitty baby brain. And that's how she's acting. She's learning to move her body. She's learning to speak. She's,
Yeah.
learning about happiness. And Dr. Godwin is also a professor of anatomy at the whatever place.
Local medical school.
Yeah, and he
University.
takes one of his students, Max McCandles, under his wing, says,
That's his
"Come
last
to
name,
my
McCandles.
house.
That's hilarious.
I got a job for you." And Max,
And Max is a little bit of an outlier. He loves the work of Godwin, but he doesn't actually. Everyone else thinks he's kind of a dork, so he's kind of like this misfit.
yeah,
Perfect.
Well,
for the story.
also, Godwin is incredibly scarred from all these experiments
well,
his
he's not
father did on him.
not super attractive.
It's interesting.
Picture Frankenstein's monster as a doctor.
It's crazy because that's the funny part about it. Like, oh, Frankenstein is the doctor. Like, I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, nice take on that. That was good. Very, very meta. Very meta.
And Dr. Frankenstein was his father, type of thing.
Mhm.
So, anywho, he brings Max home and charges him with taking notes, following Bella around, learning, just observing her for the time being.
And we like Max. He's sweet. He's nice.
Meanwhile, Bella is learning very quickly.
So yes, she's developing at a fast rate, but we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
My big issue with the beginning of the movie, my audience viewing issue, we don't really know how old she's meant to be
No.
at any age developmentally.
Which is probably
And
safe.
so
yeah,
it
I
gets
think the fact that it's ambiguous is
confusing.
better for everyone, probably.
Yeah.
So, and then we go from there to
She and Max form a friendship relationship, and the doctor encourages them to get engaged. And as they're drawing up
so uncomfortable.
the legal papers for this,
So
the
uncomfortable.
super sketchy, manipulative lawyer guy, played by Mark Ruffalo, Duncan,
The CAD.
talks Bella into leaving the house and going on an adventure with him.
Yes.
And to
She
the shock
says
of everyone,
yeah.
the doctor's like, okay. Like, even though he basically hasn't let her go outside her whole life, he's like, okay, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So she takes off with Duncan, still engaged to Max. And they have a lot of sex,
A lot of sex.
and she starts
Furious
learning-
jumping.
Yes.
furious jumping, making her happy.
Yeah.
And yeah, they travel around, do a lot of inappropriate things. Things start to go a little weird with their relationship, even weirder than the beginning of it. And she ends up being a prostitute, and he ends up in a mental institution.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the doctor gets sick. Max goes to pick her up and tell her he's dying. She comes home,
Dr. Godwin, not Max Stein. Yeah.
almost marries Max, when all of a sudden,
Bum, 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 bum.
Alfie shows
Twist.
up.
Great name, Alfie, by the way.
Happens to be her husband. Well, the husband of the body, anyway. And she's like, oh, sure, I'll go home with you now.
Very interested. She's very interested.
And she very quickly learns this guy is crazy.
Yeah.
Bad
Oh.
guy, carries a gun all the time, does horrible things to his servants.
Makes Ruffalo's character look like a freaking angel.
Yeah. Tries to imprison Bella.
Yeah. And she breaks
Well, and
out.
eventually, he's going to
Remove
mutilate her.
Female castration.
Female castration.
That's
take away,
the
take away
that's
the
the
pleasure
fun
parts.
term.
Take
Yeah.
away the pleasure parts. She could still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
won't enjoy the furious jumping anymore if he does
Yes.
this.
Yeah. And even that, you get into like, that is her brain's dad?
Yeah. 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 Exactly right.
Mhm.
100%. That's her dad, and she's like, "Oh, you're awful," and my mom was awful too. And so that's like,
Yes.
yeah. So she learns real quick that
This is not the place to be.
this is not. Where's that? So I totally, yeah. Of course, you want to figure out who her parents were.
Yeah. So in a confrontation where Alfie tries to sedate her so he can perform this horrible act, she ends up sedating him by throwing the drink in his face and
Shooting him in the leg on accident.
shoots him in
No,
the
he
foot
shot himself in the foot.
Too
in
funny.
the struggle.
Shot myself.
And while he's under, they're like, "Hey, let's put a goat brain in him."
I don't think he's gonna stop.
Yeah, he's a real bad guy.
Max is the funniest. Like,
Goat brain for
he's
you.
understated in everything he says, which is the cute, funny thing about that character.
Yeah. So anyway, they take him home. The doctor passes away. She and Max take over the doctor's work.
We always didn't even mention the fact that they had reanimated another woman with a child brain.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah. Side
they did
story.
miss
Very
Bella
confusing.
so much
They just
that they
Felicity.
thought,
where did they find
Let's
another
do it
baby?
again.
Yeah, where did they find that situation? Which is very
I
not
don't know.
explained, which is very probably good because
but she did help. She, she was part of the weird family by the end.
Great
She learned how to catch a ball.
at the very end.
But they all lived happily,
And
oddly
feed
ever
the goat.
after-ish.
Yeah,
okay, there we go, folks, and that's
there we go. We did it.
And you know what? It's hard because it's just a played out script, what we've heard over and over again. Same
Yeah.
old, same old.
Tale as
Classic.
old as time.
What a cliche, huh?
I was like, oh, hear this same old thing again. Oh,
But
my
in
gosh.
some ways, it is. I think that's what's fun about the movie. Is it is sort of you could argue she's a simple girl from a sheltered
for
life.
sure.
And
Yeah.
some fancy schmancy guy sweeps her off of his feet. Turns out he's not so cool. She learns a lot about herself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like tropes set against this
For sure.
insane
It's true.
plot.
Yeah. But it's a...
But that kind of makes it.
yeah.
It makes it really interesting.
Yeah. Her sheltered life is very brief, though, seeing as...
Well, we don't
you
know how brief it is, frankly.
It can be very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, she's still like a
She's
kid.
still learning to speak when Max shows up.
Yeah, that's awkward.
So she couldn't have been like that for such a long time. Because at the rate she learns after that, I mean, she picks up French before she gets back.
Hey, I just got to say, kids pick up languages 10 times faster than adults. Like, that's the creepy thing about this whole thing.
And baby brained
Like-
adults apparently even faster.
Yeah.
And her language goes from like a kid to like very uppity really quick at the end.
Both naive and advanced. There
Yes,
was like a really
exactly right.
interesting combination with her character.
Shoot,
Because
we know
she was
those
so
kids.
sheltered.
We know those kids, right? Where they're brilliant, but they can't like talk to their friends. They use like ridiculous. Wait, don't bring up my kids, by the way.
Social skills.
Well, like they have incredible ability to use words that are beyond their years, but they can't actually just speak like a normal person. And this is a perfect picture of that in a very entertaining way. By the way, we need to mention this is 100% a comedy. This is start to finish a
Dark comedy.
dark comedy about what is making fun of the normal trope that they're totally doing, and it really is a funny movie. Despite the smuttiness, despite the hard parts, the good parts, the moral ambiguity, the what does it mean to be alive, this is a comedy at the heart.
Yeah.
Like, it really is.
I'm gonna go punch that baby.
Oh my gosh! And when the first time she maxes and punches him in the face, I'm gonna go punch that baby. Oh, that line.
That
was so
actually
good.
kind of a wonderful twist. Was she became far too much for him to kind of handle in
Right
life
when he was
so
about to dump
quickly.
her. Right when he's about to dump
Yeah.
her. That was so
She's
good.
like full toddler developmentally.
just saying
Can't
whatever she
finish.
wanted.
He literally couldn't finish the sentence because she was already up,
Yeah.
about to punch the baby.
It's like, Bella, you can't do that in
So
modern
good.
society or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even want to.
There's a lot of things he shouldn't have been doing in modern society either.
Oh, sure.
No.
But he's like, oh, I'm not part of this. But then he realized, oh, he's still more part of the system than she is. That was a great.
Oh,
bit.
he ended up being a bigger baby than she was for
Oh,
sure.
for
Oh, he's
sure.
like trying to drag what's her face off the deck of the boat. I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
kill her. And she's just laughing
That was
the whole
a
time.
great bit.
As he's like dragging. There's some really
Oh, that's ridiculous.
there's some very funny stuff. And
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo does
No, I
take
love
part
him
in
in it.
so
He
much
gave
of it.
100%.
I don't-
think everyone in this
yeah.
movie committed.
Yeah.
I'm not sad
Which
that he
it
was
needed.
cast for this part. I don't know who else I
But
would
I
have
think
instead of
Willem
him.
Dafoe, deserved a nod for sure. In his 4 hours of makeup prep and 2 hours of makeup take off. I mean, each
Yeah.
time and
And to see William Dafoe
the
do
dry humor.
a
so
subtle
good.
character.
Yeah.
Like he's not doing the Green Goblin. He's not doing
Again,
Boondock
yeah,
Saints.
so-
Yeah,
he's
not the one
doing-
yelling.
yeah.
Mark Ruffalo is doing the like ripping his hair out.
Yes. So I would say Mark Ruffalo definitely goes against my hot take a little bit in that he is really going 110%. But it's still emotive, and if
Yeah.
again, like if you watch like The Lobster or Killing of a Sacred Deer, everyone's so muted emotionally in those movies. Everything's
Lobster,
matter of
yeah.
fact.
I have seen The Lobster.
And it also makes it really funny in that outlandish things are happening, but everyone's playing it so straight.
Yeah.
With this, I think Willem Dafoe plays it incredibly naturally. I would say Emma Stone, for as crazy as the character is, she's playing it very sincerely.
Yeah, she sells it.
If those were real things happening, she's not like a ridiculous person.
Yeah.
It's just a ridiculous idea.
Yeah. The
You
whole
lose her.
inhibition's
It's
gone. You just
amazing.
act straight from your instinct and you're a child and
I expected her to be
she did such a great job.
different at the award shows because she did such a good job in this movie. Like when I watch Austin Butler now, I see Elvis. But when I saw Emma Stone go to the awards, you know who I saw? La La Land again.
Yeah, I need to see
But-
the airborne one of him so I can erase a little bit of Elvis from that.
That's
Oh, yeah,
true. I think
He will be in Dune 2 in full makeup,
and that'll
so-
erase everything because he's one
Oh.
of the. Anyways, we won't go into
Yeah.
Dune because I'll about jump in.
That's a whole nother episode.
I'll jump all into
March.
that. Oh, I can't
In
wait.
March, we
I
can
can't
go
wait. I just
crazy on
finished
Dune.
reading the last book in the series. I am all duned
Nerd.
out. Oh, I'm such a
Nerd
nerd.
alert.
So great. Let's talk about the visuals, and we'll talk about some because the visuals are such a huge part of this movie. Again, another freaking movie that goes from black and white to color. This is hilarious. What a weird year this is. We've had 3 of the movies because Oppenheimer does it as well, right? We got Oppenheimer, we have Maestro, and we have Poor Things that do black and white color back and forth.
Yeah.
All shooting on film. And Pat, I hate to say this, I'm starting to come around to your camp. Just shoot it digital, guys. Just shoot it digital. Like I'm so sick of this film. So they shot it in VistaVision, like the VistaVision that they use when TV first came out because they wanted to compete with TV. And the camera was so loud that they couldn't use it for like but one scene, which is hilarious. So
didn't they have to get like everything get special film stock made up because none of the cameras could really run it, and it's a lot. I definitely I'm into, and I definitely want to get into this. You said I'm into how limited they explored all these different lenses, and they're like, but we're only going to use 4 or something.
Well, because I actually have a lot of thoughts about these because once you find your look, you don't need more than 4 lenses. Like I'll even joke on a wedding day, I'll bring 20 and I'll use 2 to 3. Like that's how it'll go. So once they found their look, because but we got to talk about these lenses, Pat. What's your name again?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Because they're so drastically different. Often when they're using lenses, they're using like
crazy
a couple different focal lengths. So they get the tight, they get the medium, and they get the wide. But no, not these guys. They're like, you know what? This lens is for a different size film, but let's use it anyways because we like how it blocks off half.
Yeah,
of
the vignettes.
Shot. Oh my gosh, that was the 8mm because the 8mm is the one when they had like the circle in the middle and the vignette. Mm-hmm. The one that was the craziest lens though, because they wanted a 16 to 200, which doesn't exist. There isn't such a thing. So the closest they got was the Zeiss Super Zoom, which is a 16 to 150 or 110 or something. But it's a lens that is insanely capable, 16.5 to 110 millimeters at T2.6. So it's a monster lens. Like it's folks, you can't tell at home, but I caught a fish this big. It is just a monster
it's a good-sized fish.
Cinema lens because they use zooms nonstop in this movie. Nonstop, they're zooming in and out. It's just constant, and they can do it from so far away. It's an incredible lens that gives them such versatility. So yeah, when you have a 16 to 110, you don't need any other lenses. They could have shot the whole movie on that lens alone, but no, that wasn't wide enough. So he had to get another one. He had to get an 8mm and another even wider. I think it was a 12mm as well. So this movie was crazy because most of the time he's shooting wide. Most of the time he's shooting wide unless he's doing a zoom into the face or a zoom into the situation. So you got so much of the environment around you that it felt futuristic in an ancient time. And then we got to talk about the backgrounds and stuff too.
It just looked like you were in a painting.
Yes.
Which I didn't love the backgrounds, like the matte
the
paintings.
interior.
I did not love them.
Oh,
I thought
I
the
kinda
production
liked that
design
a lot.
of the actual sets, like Godwin's house and the interior of the ship, and maybe this was based off where they were in the story. You could argue, like by the time they got the ship, the backgrounds, everything was ugly, right? It was ugly colors against ugly colors.
Yeah.
Which again,
Loved it.
probably was Bella's learning more about the world, and the world's a little uglier than she initially thought.
Sure.
Right? We went from black and white to color by the time she goes to Lisbon in the first place.
Yeah.
And Lisbon's bright and fun.
Yeah. And
then slowly we start getting in really saturated, like toxic green, and Alexandria is just sort of dirt, and it's all kind of junky.
So you didn't like
but
that.
like it was really unappealing. Yeah, it was unappealing.
I
to
thought
me.
it was
And
beautiful.
I found the world building inconsistent by then. We went so surreal.
It's
that
pretty
it felt
far,
like,
but I felt like having watched The Favorite, it wasn't that much of a departure from that. Like there is the difference where the zoom is used so much in this, and that's not something like The Favorite though is taking place in like inside a palace, so there's so many wide shots where you see the architecture of these rooms, and I think it's probably on location, kind of how The Favorite
And
was
I think-
filmed. And I know all of these were not, for the most part.
The sets I thought were cool.
Okay, I
It
was like,
was those. It
the
was
backgrounds.
those matte painting
really?
The coloring.
backgrounds. The kind of like how like
Yeah.
when you saw in Alexandria specifically, I think it was Alexandria, how it was like this kind of weird, surrealist tower, and like
Yeah.
all the poor
Yeah.
people in the pit. That it became like
It was a Salvador
This-
Dali.
yes, it was very much a dolly, and
Yeah.
it felt like, well, now we're
stairs.
so untethered,
Yeah.
which again I assume is intentional,
Yeah.
right? Like I assume we
To-
are.
Childlike eyes.
We're viewing the whole movie from Bella's lens.
Yes.
Or four
Some of
lenses
us like
she has.
art, Pat.
Yeah, and I loved a lot of it,
But not the
but
color.
I did not like
Not the hue.
the boat parts.
That's surprising. I was a little surprised.
I
How'd
didn't
you-
find the designs.
Did you? So you didn't like the
that compelling.
steampunk boat or anything? The outside of the boat. It felt too
I
cartoony.
love
No.
the boat.
So
I
that's
thought
so
it was
funny.
It became a
cool.
little too.
So when you see
It
that,
felt like worse Wes Anderson.
I was gonna
I was
say it
about
was
to
very
say,
Wes
yeah.
Anderson. It
Or
was
worse.
Life Aquatic.
are you
kind
calling
of boat.
Poor Things a poor man's Wes Anderson? Because that would be a hot take.
It's like Wes Anderson meets Yellow Submarine or something.
Exactly. I'm
that's actually not
into
bad.
it.
That's
I'm
actually
totally
not bad.
And
into it.
which I would normally be like, yeah, but then mixed with like 90s skater cartoon colors,
For sure.
all that toxic
Or
green and red, and I just thought, nah, I just
Or-
don't love this.
As someone without feelings,
It's
I can
VistaVision.
understand how that would be abrasive.
yeah, that's true.
I think
The rumor
I think I get why you didn't enjoy that.
That's true. The feeling things. The rumor is, Pat, they dealt with the VistaVision color first and made that their palette for everything else.
Yeah.
So as we know,
Makes
when we
sense.
watch,
I thought the costumes were all wonderful. Again, everything that was like interior, I thought was great.
Oh, Bella's
It was
lack
just-
of skirts.
Yeah.
It just seemed like she was wearing those
little romper
old-fashioned
shorts.
panties and never like
Exactly.
put the skirt on.
That's
Like,
exactly
where's her pants?
giant
Yeah, the puff
the
sleeves.
Victorian puff
giant
sleeves?
sleeves.
She's
So
like
good.
wearing it goes from a full Victorian to like, oh, this is like a mod thing from the 2020s. Like this is
Yeah. So sorry,
and they
that's
do that
my
on purpose,
You
so,
know, I
of course.
gotta diss the movie a little bit.
yeah,
And
no,
that's-
and that's
It's okay.
I like that
But
you
what
don't
you
like
didn't
it.
like about it, I did like.
It does. I will say when that happened,
It was a lot though.
it pulls you away. Like, oh, whoa, what? It felt like I was watching like the Gorillas, like a Gorillas music video, because that's the vibe I was getting. I'm like, oh, it's like the Gorillas, which I'm a huge Gorillas fan, so I was like, that's dope. Waiting for them to come out and sing the theme song of this thing. So okay, so that was the first thing because these visuals are unreal, and the best part is like you get these zoom ins for kind of these cool feeling, like reminds you of like the old westerns from the old spaghetti westerns, like these crazy zooms mixed with these emotional wide scape. Look at this amazing world to then the jarring. And I don't want to say this is because when the actors didn't like bring it up to what the director wanted, but it seemed like when he wanted to make it more jarring, he threw on that 8mm. And it's like, no, it's like this feeling, but way more. So here's the funkiest freaking lens I can find. And that's when he threw it on there. And the only time that he did handheld in the entire movie, do you know? Only time they handheld the camera.
Oh, it was close-ups on Bella, I thought. Seth's winking
I don't
awkwardly
know.
at us.
I don't know what he's doing. It's weird.
When Mark Ruffalo goes to fight the guy that winked at Bella.
Oh,
The old guy
man
when
in
he
the
so when the
restaurant?
camera follows him to go fight the old guy, which is so
Oh,
awkward. It's the
yes.
only time where they do a handheld shot with the 8mm lens, and it's so like shaky and gross and it's perfect. And then they get back into the dancing, and there was a part where like Bella kicks the lens on accident, and they kept it in the cut. So it's just as great. And
I
was
did
like,
think, pivoting maybe from the look to the movement.
yeah.
Wonderful physical
Oh,
performances
so
in this.
good.
Like
Yes.
even so, Emma Stone, of course.
Animator's Corner, Pat. Take it over.
Yeah, I got a little
Animator's Corner.
Corner
Take
in
it
this
over.
one.
Mark Ruffalo, yeah.
Well, one, even how he was fighting in that fight
Oh,
scene
it's
was
so funny.
ridiculous.
And the
and
fact
like,
that he was
dumb.
always wearing the girdle, so it just made it that much more.
Oh, that was good.
They did
of a
want him to look like a
stretch.
puffed up bird. Was
Yeah,
apparently his
a
I'm not-
pigeon
character
or
design.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
So
sex
a little
scene he's
tighter
wearing,
at the
I thought that was-
waist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Puffed up bird. That's so good.
he he definitely had that error about him, prancing around. But Emma Stone's journey from toddler to woman was crazy,
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
The stilted, stiff legs, waddle, but also she was very so quickly in heels, so it added this also weird layer to it. And then you slowly, as the time passes, she gets slightly more natural. And that the work to try and keep a consistent thing through the course of the movie, where they had to talk about where am I here? Okay, this is
Yes.
how I walk here.
Well, right. And did they shoot this
Because it wasn't
in
shot in
sequence? Oh, that's what I was
Oh.
going
I
to
don't
say.
think
That
so.
would be really
I think
hard
they
for
had to go
her.
back and forth.
Guys, I
Yes.
gotta change
So-
my hot take.
Uh-oh.
Just give her the best actress. Why is it a conversation? Why is anyone else
We're here
even,
to present the Best Actress award.
and this is
I
why
mean-
this is why I was having those conversations. I love what's her name in Anatomy of a Fall. I think she's doing bilingual amazingness. Gladstone in
Sandra
Killers of
Fuller?
Flower Moon, so good. But good night. This role is ridiculous.
It's a pretty good role.
It asks the
It's-
most.
Yeah, it's got, and maybe it's because it's so extremes. You have these
Yeah.
extremes that you have to just stick to. Yeah, I don't know. So
I kind of wanted to touch too, Pat, on so much of it being overdone, the cinematography, the color, the things like that. It also, to me, seems like this is what Yorgos would have if he'd had more time in prepping the other movies he made. Maybe they would have all ended up that crazy, because he'd been wanting to do this for decades. He first proposed it to the author in 2009.
wow,
And said, I want to make a movie out of this. So
Wow.
he had so much time to think about what he wanted to do with it, and waited till he had enough success where people were going to let him be that crazy, and had enough money that people would be like, sure, you just did The Favorite and that was amazing. So here you go. You can just do whatever you want.
Yeah. But I also think this story lends itself to that. It is a true fantasy story, where
Kind
the
of
other
labyrinthy
ones,
to me.
Ooh, good one.
yeah,
Good one.
the other ones are it's more like it's a real world scenario, but the characters make the oddest choices and don't really emote.
Yeah.
Everyone's just so matter of fact, I'm here to kill you. Oh, I don't like that very much, kind of thing, right? And you're like, okay, that's funny, because these people are acting weird.
Yeah.
Where the whole world is heightened,
Right.
but then there's these really grounded, again, within the craziness of the movie. I know that's a weird point to make, but again, Emma Stone is believable in all these things. Her ability to, not only her physical, her body acting, but her facial performances as she was a toddler, looking around at the world and absorbing things and smiling. All that felt so accurate.
Yeah.
And just saying all the naive things she said, it felt so authentic. It's a tough role to do.
Right.
I don't know how many people could have done it this way and been so charming and funny, despite all the insane things.
Yeah.
She's nude half this movie, and well, I guess I'm curious. To me, it didn't feel gratuitous. It was well, that's the story.
Yeah.
And parts of that
And I
made me
think also-
uncomfortable, but I didn't feel like she had no shame or anything about it. So
And I feel
didn't
like
feel
the actors
anything
didn't
about
make
that
it
for her.
And I felt like the males in the didn't make it feel like it was creepy.
Yes.
Because, well, for one, I mean, Mark Ruffalo was just so over the top with his emotions and his actions and all that stuff that wasn't what you're focused on. But he probably would have been the creepiest. And then the doctor, like, I think Max blatantly asks him in the beginning, like, did you just make this person for yourself? And then he goes into that whole story about like how it would take days and days or months, or I can't even remember how long he said it would be for him to reach any sort of climax.
Oh, and it would be painful.
Yeah, it was like, I'm basically like his whole like burping bubble thing.
Oh, so funny.
Every meal, like
So
how
funny.
weird and cool was that? It was just, and like the tubes that he was
very
hooked
cartoon.
up into.
Pat, I'm surprised you didn't. This is such a cartoony movie. It's a very cartoony movie to me. So,
but it's like the cartoons are taking everything very seriously. Outside of Mark Ruffalo,
they did not get the right.
Mark Ruffalo like knows he's a cartoon in the movie.
Yeah,
but everyone else is like, no, this is Shakespeare. You know, like. But I think that's what
everyone.
makes it work.
Everyone
like,
else is playing Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
And Mark Ruffalo is Daffy Duck. And
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, I had so many thoughts. We just jumped around for some things. So, obviously, our boy Yorgo here, he, I did not pronounce that anywhere close. The second we go from like Emma's character having sex, it's like, color in your face, this is happening now. And it was like a punch in the face of like, hey, guess what we're doing now? All the thick experiences, and you're gonna have to deal with it in color now. It was just such a slap when he did it, and I applaud him, and it's ridiculous because it almost felt comedic how he did it. It was even in the gratuitous smuttiness, it was comedic. So that's why I think it didn't feel like a.
Yeah, well, even when she's like working as a prostitute and all these guys that are coming, like the different customers were cartoon, like, you know, like the super spindly old guy. Yeah, like it was.
And the only good looking one, of course, is the priest. Like they had to do the jab. They had to do the jab for the priest.
Yeah.
Like the best one is, so funny.
Even
well, and the guy.
I think it'd be better if we got to choose.
And the guy like basically like and then the guy that brings in the two students and they're like taking notes. The sex ed class,
Monty Python
basically.
much?
And she keeps like looking at him like, I hope you're getting this.
Yeah, she helped.
Because at that point in her development, she probably wasn't too far off from these adolescent.
Maybe. I mean, we have no idea how old she is.
Maybe even.
Well, we don't know how old that baby brain is.
Because it's not real.
Yeah,
we don't have to know.
What?
That's really happened. This is true
not
story.
real.
Nobody has ever put a baby brain in a full-grown woman. And had her survive anyway.
I believe William Defriend. He will do. I believe he really did it.
If he could do the animals, though, I'd be on board.
Did you have an inkling that that's what had happened before the reveal?
That it was the baby's brain?
We see who we know as Bella, Emma Stone right at the beginning, falling. And then we see a baby Bella. And to me, I did not suspect that someone's baby was put into their brain. And
you just thought they were starting over for some reason.
Yeah, I figured he just shocked her and reanimated her in some way.
Yeah, that any Frankenstein's monster situation, they're going to be a little slow to start.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh,
I was kind of like, I mean, one of my favorite movies is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, so I kind of just went straight to the Helena Bonham Carter, bring her back. Quick.
And then the thing I thought for sure was going to happen, and the movie withheld from me, and I still don't really know why. So Godwin's dying.
Yeah.
His body is dying.
Oh, I didn't even think of that, Pat. I didn't even think of that.
evil General Shuttlesworth or whatever.
Alfie.
And they're like, okay, we're gonna
I thought
transplant a
that's-
brain.
Wow, I didn't even think.
Why
of that.
wasn't it Godwin's brain?
Yeah,
a
I
good
thought
one.
that was where they were gonna go to, and then was
That
like,
would-
nope,
that
they
would've been
chose
a
a goat
nice-
for that guy.
Nice happy
Okay.
ending. That would have been nice.
Would have been
Yeah.
a lot
I
cooler.
thought for sure, like, well, of course he should be transplanted.
Yeah. that would've been
But
a nice, sweet
they
ending.
didn't. I was shocked. Not just because he became a goat. That was like, once it wasn't Godwin, I was like, okay, that makes sense. But
Right.
I was shook that
That's
they
funny.
did not.
Yeah, that would have been a nice little
Because
ending.
I don't know
felt
about
so
shook,
timely
but I
in the story.
I did think that could have been the natural progression of it.
And I don't know if that's
Put him in
better,
there.
but
Yeah.
it felt set up. Because again,
that's
it
funny.
wasn't like he was slipping, right?
Yeah.
As far as we knew, his brain was working as well as it ever had.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
just his body, his poor body, has
that his dad
betraying
All
destroyed.
the
Since
weird
he
bubble
was-
things.
Oh my god.
yeah. And it felt so weird to me that they didn't do that. I was a little disappointed.
Mac's character was like the only voice of reason in the whole movie. He's the only character that has like normal
Which
standards.
is so funny because the guy's a comedian in real life.
Yeah, exactly
You
right.
know?
Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
right.
great. Which is why his timing I felt was so funny. Like every time he's like, "Well, my father when he was
Yeah, he plays it
when he
so
was
serious.
what was it like horrible things like when he was branding my testicles." He's like, "Good God, man!" It's like, it's like Max says all the things that like you're kind of thinking.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, he's us, right?
He's the
our
everyman.
way into
he's
this
the
world.
everyman for
Yeah.
sure. Because he's like, yeah, he's the guy watching Frankenstein's experiment. He's the only one that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
Godwin's not together. He's an abused child who's. The best part was like when he said, "Oh man, my father was an effing idiot." Like that was
Yeah.
such a great like
There's-
release
yeah.
because he
Yeah,
never said a
felt
bad
like-
thing about his dad until that moment.
Yeah.
No, and
Yeah.
that he thought, well, of course he did it for science, and then
Exactly
then
right.
he was like,
He's
"Nah,
like,
he's
well,
an
he
idiot."
was an idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, finally, it was
Yeah.
like such a relief to hear
Yeah.
that.
What did you guys think of the reveal that not only is the general a horrible person, but that
Oh, that was great.
Bella's mom was apparently
That
a horrible
the
person?
scratch pad.
Did you relate
the
that
scratch
back?
pad? Oh, it was great.
Relate it back to
Did
what?
you relate that back to when she was younger and kind of was interested in like killing small animals
I
and
wanted
even
to
like
die. The
her
impulse.
joy of like the cruelty kind of stuff?
No, if you met kids, they're all cruel.
But not all of them
but I
are
was-
killing things.
No, but that's true.
Well,
That
and
is-
she's
that is
seen a bunch of animals
True.
more or less
It was the
ripped
norm.
apart and put back together.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
She
I
had the
did
best
wonder,
pets
like,
on the planet.
oh, yeah, was that, there's a little nature nurture
Yeah.
thing?
No,
Like,
I didn't
She
connect
started
those at
a
all.
little more cruel.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, maybe predisposed to that, but
Pat, we have a different worldview right now. I would just say, no, I don't. I don't
think
know.
there
I don't
could
know.
be. I think there could be
Sins of the
to
father
that.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but then to me, it was
But also the mother. I mean,
she became like a really good person.
Victoria
would
knew
argue.
she was a horrible. Well, maybe it's just she didn't. According to Alfie, she just hated the baby.
Yeah, that's the question
And that's
too.
why
It's a-
she did it.
it's
But
an-
really, he wasn't a nice person. So can we believe
He
anything
wasn't
he
a
says?
trustworthy
Like maybe
narrator.
she had like some sort of sense of, I can't.
But like the
live this
helper
life.
lady, she's like, "Was I nice?" And she just was like,
No.
Moving
girl.
on.
Yeah.
The whole soup. Oh, that poor lady.
Yeah.
Soup.
It was so ridiculous. At first, you're like, "Why is he holding a gun to the?" This is where we're going.
So
This is-
awful.
the constant like, "What are you might try and hurt me?" So I just always have a gun.
yeah.
The irony is like, apparently, this is the worst situation
Yeah.
you've been in all movie. You have been literally a patron of a 30 franc whorehouse,
Yeah.
and you've been an experiment of a Frankenstein, and now this is the worst experience of the movie.
Yeah, that's actually the scariest thing that's happened to you.
It's
Yeah.
because when she gets kidnapped, I guess she gets kidnapped by Ruffalo's character. You're like, oh, But Ruffalo's kind of an idiot, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
he's so quirky.
And she chose. I guess you could argue she chose to go with
Mostly.
what's his face.
Mostly,
And
but
she
also
mostly got
she's-
away with choosing to not be with him anymore.
Right. And
Yeah.
what's her superpower? Because obviously, folks, this is forgive me, but the point of this movie is the societal norms are sometimes stupid. That's kind of the point of this movie, right? So she doesn't give in to any like peer pressure or like putting her down. She doesn't give in to any of that by Mark Ruffalo's character, because like he's totally trying to manipulate her. She doesn't give in to any of that. The only thing that she ever has like a fault in is because she's naive. She's like, yeah, I'll get into the trunk. What could go wrong with me getting in the trunk?
Oh yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
seems
Will
like
you guys,
fun.
Will you guys give all this money to those poor
Yeah.
people?
So the only time she does like horrible things is because like
I
she's
did love
naive.
that. You did what? My money.
And then it's like, wait, all of it's great.
Oh,
It's
it's
the
good.
naivety, which is the best.
Nobody stole
Yeah,
it.
it's great.
I didn't hide
I
it.
would say there's also tonally, it's sort of like a Mel Brooks movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the
Hello,
character
yes.
the character literally holding a gun all the time because he's such a horrible person that he needs to.
It's a Mel,
as a total Mel Brooks villain.
except for it doesn't
you
have
know.
Mel Brooks. You know it's a joke, and this one you don't know if it's a joke. That's
No,
the
Yeah,
irony.
you
'cause
for
the
sure finally
tone
feel the serious
feels so-
danger.
It's a
with
Mel
this.
Brooks movie where cruelty is real,
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Versus
When I'm
the-
watching Blazing Saddles,
You don't really
Yeah.
feel like darkness is in the room.
but this is like you feel the darkness all
they
around.
comment on it, but it doesn't feel as scary,
yeah.
right? I think there was a
Oh, for sure. No, that's the
you
brilliance
felt
of
a little
Mel Brooks.
worried for Bella the whole
Mhm.
time, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Like
right?
she
You're
might
always
not
like,
get to leave right now.
somebody's going to take advantage of her.
Yeah.
Versus in like Blazing Saddles, our sheriff
Yes.
we knew was more clever than everybody else, and so you kind of felt like even though he's surrounded by a bunch of like clan members or whatever,
And
you're
it's
like, but
goofy.
he's okay.
It's still
He'll be
goofy.
fine.
That's the thing about it. You never for a second are like, "Oh, is this goofy?" Yeah, this is goofy. Like you.
But of course, Poor
understand.
Things also is goofy. 12 minutes
But
in, we've got a guy
not-
burping bubbles.
But the tone isn't goofy. It's absurdity.
It's
abs-
there, though.
I will call
Yeah,
it
it's absurd,
absurdity because
maybe.
there really is a difference between goofy and absurd. Because this Poor Things is absurd in the best way possible, and Mel Brooks is goofy absurdity. Like
Yeah.
it's so they really. I think that subtle difference is massive because this feels like like an art piece that's really saying the same things as a Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah. I think also another person like Max that we haven't really talked about is Harry,
Oh yeah,
the
sure.
guy that she met on the boat and befriended him, and
The-
the
Jared
lady,
Carmichael.
the pessimist. No, what do they call him? He's a
a
Cynic?
realist.
cynic. A cynic. Yeah,
Cynic.
a realist. Whoa, Mariah. Jeez,
I really liked
Like,
that
he called
guy.
himself-
Mariah
right?
Harry Waller over here.
I think that was his thing. He's like, you just need to know what is true. But also, he didn't like
But he
her
also didn't like
light.
happiness. Yeah, that was a sweet moment where he's like, "I am not a good person," and she's like, "No, it's fine. I don't care about your motives. I still wanted to know." Oh, and the old lady is so sweet. She feels like
Oh, she's great.
Titanic, but like the book scene is
She's like the unsinkable Molly Brown.
the book scene, and then throwing her off the boat. Those are so
I'm gonna
great.
kill her.
She's like, "Oh, this is exciting."
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
and then Harry's like, "Oh, apparently she wants to be thrown off."
Yeah.
Go. And the funny thing is, you
Let's
see
see
the
how this
tears
plays out.
of the boat.
Oh yeah, it
You
was like
couldn't
no
even
way.
throw
Yeah,
her
she would have
close,
just
like,
landed
it-
in one of like the lifeboats at that point. Like, oh,
Not
whoop.
even the
But then
lifeboat,
there's-
just the
She
deck
fell
below.
10
or whatever.
feet to
Yeah.
the next deck.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
quickly
good.
coming to tackle him.
Yeah.
Which also, I think, as Mark Ruffalo's character is like so emasculated so quickly in all these things too that
So
like
funny.
Oh yeah,
He's so
losing the
quickly, like-
money and
he wasn't
So
ever
terrible.
really that big of a threat because you just felt like you're an
No.
idiot and you don't really have any
the
power.
only-
You're just a con
Yeah.
man, but
exactly right.
you know,
Everybody knows
you have
except for and even Bella's character knows, like, oh yeah, he's not a good guy, but
he's not the guy you marry.
He's gonna give me a
Well,
good
no,
time.
she knows she's gonna marry Max.
It's
She's like, I'm just gonna
literally-
go with this guy because
Oh.
he's gonna get me out of here for a little bit, and that's
That's
what
Yeah,
I
it'll be
want.
fun.
Great joke.
This is a means.
He's a
to me
means to the
doing it.
end, yeah. And so she got what she wanted, and
Yeah.
that's great, yeah. Which is again why people are calling this a feminist movie. They really are. Like, this has been called, like,
I mean, yeah, I can't disagree. Mariah, do you remember what feminism is?
do we need to mansplain it to you again?
I really.
I
like
know we
that-
touched on this.
I like that it's like a
before.
painting, and
Folks, if you want to hear us mansplain feminism again,
Oh,
go back
no.
to Cleo 5 to 7.
yes, this is
Oh,
a
that's
very
right. I couldn't remember what movie it
empowering.
was.
You know the funny
Not just a feminist, but just a coming of age. I mean, whatever
Oh, yeah.
age
It's-
she was, where she's like sudden, but there's that point where you see her slowly become enlightened. You know, she's figuring it out, and she doesn't have the burdens of, you know, the societal norms that she would have had if she had, you know, been born and lived that long and
Yeah.
had gotten brainwashed by the society and manners and.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought a lot about Cleo 5 to 7 in this movie because there was a lot of similar themes. Like even the use of nudity and sex in this movie, similar to Cleo 5 to 7, it wasn't like a I'm just an object, but literally I just want. There's a comfort to this in a way that was. Now I thought I prefer the Cleo 5 to 7 because it's less
Uncomfortable.
smutty.
But it's not so
but
much.
it's not so different.
The
as
movie
I-
is not so much about sex
Yes.
as it is power and empowerment. Like
Right.
it's more.
exactly right.
It's not necessarily who she's having sex with. It's the fact that she's in control of how she handles that situation. And
Oh, and even the conversations about, like, believe it or not, men want to decide because they don't care if you want. Like, just like the very brutalness.
Yeah,
of
they
it.
sometimes
Why
don't like
would they
it.
not want to? Like, just it's all this like these amazing horribleness of being
I love
human.
how she started to sit down with all the clients, and she's like, "Okay, we're
Tell me a
gonna.
joke. Oh, that was this.
You
yeah.
tell me something about your life. I tell you a joke, and then I give you a sniff check to see if you need
Yeah.
some lavender oil or whatever.
Yeah, 'cause
And then
some
we
of you
make this
stink
a whole
too
lot more
much.
comfortable.
Well, and
Yeah.
then I think that was the thing that was interesting in this world. Outside of Alexandria, there wasn't a clear like cruelty is the norm. Well, Alexandria and then her husband, husband
Yeah,
dead.
her dad.
Cruelty wasn't necessarily inherent in humanity everywhere. Does that make sense? Does that even sound right to you guys?
It was. Well, there was possible.
You identified the evil in those two situations, whereas the other stuff was
Right.
very like
Well, the one.
it's all kind of
The-
not great.
I mean,
and
it's
you
all a
get-
little
The one patron
gross.
that she didn't have to, you know, that she was like, but what if they had the whole conversation about what if we choose? That guy seemed kind of evil in that situation. So like that was not apparent, but like it was kind of, it seemed like he knew that she didn't want to, but he still wanted to. Like, you know, there seemed to be
Yeah.
some shades of that, of course.
Yeah.
And other evilness that comes along. But again, it was more of her just understanding, like, oh, that's dumb. Like her trying to figure out, like, why is it this way?
And
That's
another-
stupid.
I think
character-
maybe.
Go ahead, Pat.
No, you go ahead.
Oh my gosh!
Well, I
I'll
was
take
just
over.
going to introduce another character,
Oh,
Madam Swiney.
yes. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
You
Good
guys were both
segue.
about to, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Great vehicle.
Well, that's where I
From
felt
such
like a little
films as
anti-
Harry Potter, if you are a Potterhead.
It felt a little. Well, I guess I'm curious. So that felt like the most woman on woman crime in this
Yeah.
movie. in that
Oh,
That's true. The
She-
creepiness was really more.
Well, she was. I mean,
She was
the
two-sided.
bitey thing was a little weird. Her kind of kink. She's biting people. I'm like, don't go for my ears, which became a very funny gag after.
Yeah, that was
Like,
pretty
covering
good.
her
Which
ears.
is messed up, but yeah,
like,
it was funny.
But coercing her, like, no, this is like you're gonna learn so much, kind of thing. Like, because Bella
is going to
still
give
is
you
super
your
naive.
This is going to
Yeah.
give you your independence. This is going to get you
Yeah,
to
and
open
it's
all
like,
these doors.
Like, this is a classic
And I get 10%.
horrible madam situation
Oh,
of like,
total
I'm convincing you this is
for
for you.
Yeah.
And
But for her, that
you
was
did
her
think-
reality. This is how you get what you want in life. And
was
you
saying,
give me 10 francs.
it would
after
feel
you
a
do
whole
it.
lot
Yeah.
different if it was a dude. That would be an awful scene if it was
Yeah.
a man.
Well,
Oh,
the
yeah.
tatted up little creepy madam was definitely more likable than any like creepy.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
the streets. Or
And
Big
I
French
think she
pimp.
didn't. I think she believed her character believed parts of what she was saying.
Mhm.
yeah, and
But-
there was some
Still, she was like, "This girl will make me money, so I'm going to tell her
Right,
whatever
exactly
I need to."
right.
Yeah.
And so that felt in some ways, and this is maybe a crazy take, felt like she took more advantage of Bella than
Than anyone else did.
But she was
Mark
so
Ruffalo ever did.
upfront
Oh,
about
for sure,
it.
for sure.
She was so upfront about it. She said, "You give me this cut, and you can, this is how you."
But she was still
Yeah.
like, telling her like, no, this is right.
still
Like she's
turning her
she's
out.
like, I don't feel feelings anymore, and I'm like, well, now you know what it's like to be Pat. But no, but then there's past that. you
true.
you
Yeah,
can
you
move
got to
on.
go on
It's
beyond
like
the
darkness.
horizon, and then
like
eventually
she-
feelings
The
will
darkness
return.
is taking
Yeah.
over me.
So
Yeah.
she still seemed like she was totally manipulating her to keep her there, to keep having these experiences.
Well,
to move
sure.
on.
She's certainly putting a positive spin on the situation that benefits her.
yeah,
For sure.
So that's what we call evil.
But didn't stop her from leaving.
Yeah, that's the thing about it.
Certainly is like, hey, you show up to
No.
work and
They
you
never-
do these, you get these
yeah.
things
It
done.
was a
and
loose tether.
pay me my rent, and you.
Yeah, there definitely seemed to be this weird, like, there wasn't the big break. Like, how are you gonna get out of there? There was never that.
Yeah,
No,
she didn't put
yeah,
her in a
she did
crate
feel-
and sneak her
Yeah.
onto a boat.
She
You
did
know,
feel like
to
a
control
That
her.
subcontractor.
crate sounded exciting. There was probably candy in the bottom. It was exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was maybe the worst thing, because she didn't want to go on a boat, right? Like that was like their disconnect, or the breaking point was like, oh, I didn't want to do this thing.
I
You
don't want
forced
to go
this
in the
on me?
cot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do a
And
little. I'm gonna tell stories after school. Mariah went up to use the restroom literally when she was about to get into the.
I missed the whole transition onto
I'm
the
like,
boat.
you literally missed her going into a trunk and then ending up on a boat.
Yeah.
Mariah's like, what are we doing on the boat right now? I'm like,
Yeah.
ah.
So when I get to rewatch this, I will pay particular attention to the entering the crate. And
Lies. She'll go to the
Arrival
bathroom
on the
at the
boat.
same time.
most likely.
so, well, should we get to some fun facts? I'm sure Mariah. You have some
fun
I
facts,
have a
baby.
couple
Let's
fun facts.
go.
Yeah.
My only fun facts are about the crazy lenses they use because it was
well,
nuts.
I'll
For
do
me,
the-
that's so fun.
I'll do the superficial one first.
Do it.
The hair dye.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, yes,
Yorgos
yes, yes.
said we want her to have really dark brown hair. And they accidentally did like the most jet black as possible. But once she'd done it, they were like, but this is a really good feel.
That's
And so
dope.
they kept it.
Do you
that
know-
way. And by the end, the extensions were 4 feet long. Pretty long. Because her hair was growing like 2 inches
pretty long.
every other day.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that from the beginning of the movie. Clever.
Yeah.
Which, like, why would that have happened?
Yeah.
Baby
How long
brain
was this
fuels
trip?
hair growth?
Yeah.
Little known thing. I
Science.
heard it
It's
on a
science,
podcast
Pat.
once. I
It
heard
is
it on a
science.
podcast once.
Yeah. It's just science.
I have two. So one is that there were the real animals before they were digitally merged,
Yes.
wandering around in Emma
They
Stone.
haven't actually done it yet, you guys.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
But
That was
someone's
fake.
gonna do it
that was
for
using
me.
computer graphics.
What's this
Um,
computer graphics?
Emma Stone named the goose Goose Willis,
Yes. Oh, I love these.
and there was a sheep that she named Meryl Sheep,
Oh, that is amazing.
which I think
Adorbs.
Emma Stone.
it's good
Kudos.
stuff.
I love
Good
little
stuff.
things like that. That is so good.
My only
The other one,
Oh, you got another.
Oh,
one.
holy
Good.
cow.
yeah, I've got another one. Apparently, Mark Ruffalo was really nervous that he was going to get fired because he was like, all right, I'm just going crazy. At some point, they're going to be like, nope, this is not working. And he told Oscar Isaac, who was filming on a set nearby, like about this. And so one day, Willem Dafoe came up to him and was like really serious, like, hey, with Oscar Isaac, like, hey, yeah, they're replacing you, like, very seriously, that he was getting fired, and yep, Oscar was going to replace him.
Yeah.
he believed it for a second.
He had so little confidence about this. He told Yorgos too. He's like, "You don't want." He read the screenplay
Yeah.
and he was like, "This is not my part." And he's like, "It's you." Like he tried to talk everybody out of letting him have this part, and during the whole performance, apparently.
Yeah.
No,
So Willem Dafoe trying to convince you that you did actually get fired.
Yeah,
That's
your
amazing.
worst fears
pretty
have
great.
been realized today.
Yeah. I hope he was in all the makeup too. Just
Yeah.
matter
That's
of
so
fact.
great.
Those are my fun facts.
Okay.
My simple fact, which most people already know, is that the three main characters are all Marvel characters. Have been Marvel characters in the past.
Emma?
She
Yeah.
plays Gwen in
MJ.
Spider-Man.
Oh my
Oh, yeah,
gosh, I didn't even think
Gwen,
about
sorry.
Gwen. I don't even think about Gwen.
Gwen.
She
Really
died.
should
She's
have
like the
been
only
MJ
one who
'cause
died.
she's redhead. Yeah, Andrew Garfield broke her back.
Come on, Andrew.
Yeah.
That's why you got fired, buddy.
Green Goblin.
Obviously. Two Spider-Mans. Two
Yeah,
Spider-Mans.
two Spider-Mans.
Both villains.
And the Hulk.
Wait, was she a villain? I can't remember.
No,
And it
she
wasn't.
was a good lady.
It wasn't MJ. It was the other one.
No, it was Gwen.
Gwen Stacy.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but she's normally redhead.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got
that's
the
MJ.
black hair dye, Pat. We just went over this.
I'm
Seriously.
supposed,
I actually
actors
think she's.
lie.
I actually
Willem
think
Dafoe
she's
didn't actually scar his
naturally.
face like that.
I actually think she's naturally blonde.
What?
We might have to
That's
look that up.
Crazy.
False.
No, I'm pretty sure the red was dyed for Superbad.
False.
Red and Easy A and her whole career because
Her
of
whole
I don't think
career.
she's
redheaded.
naturally a redhead. What did you look it up? Pretty
Oh,
sure I
research
heard
him.
this with her on a
Holy
podcast.
Crap! No, you shut your mouth.
Spoiler alert.
Shut your mouth. This is bigger than the Poor Things, guys.
What?
Because she's
color?
constantly she's in Crazy Stupid Love.
Shut up. She's a blonde.
Blonde.
Nailed it.
Oh my god.
You're welcome.
That's hard to imagine.
What? But
I know because
she
she
hasn't
was
had
always
natural hair
red in
forever.
the beginning. Yeah, you're welcome, everyone.
What the crap, guys? This is
Was
big
that the
news.
biggest fact of the whole
That
podcast?
who cares about Poor Things
Emma
anymore?
Stone is
Emma
not
Stone's
a
blonde.
natural redhead. Woo!
That is
Blown.
nutty. That is nutty. Oh my
Okay.
goodness. Okay. Well,
Okay.
now I don't
So
know. what
My
was
only
real.
other fact was it took 31 years for this book to become a movie.
Yeah, and that was and it was a bummer.
And
In
'cause-
92.
Alistair did not make it.
no. Oh, that's
He
such
was
a sad
85.
bit. Sad bit.
Sorry, bud.
Sorry, Al.
But he
So
knew it
what
was
did we
happening.
Call me Al.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
What did we think of this movie?
Terrible.
I think
Not
we're
even
to
worth
review
watching.
time.
I
Jeez
totally
Louise.
liked it.
Yeah.
Super good.
Have we all seen Barbie and Oppenheimer in this room?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all down to 2 movies. Is that correct?
There's only 2 movies you haven't seen, which is Zone of Interest and American Fiction.
Pat,
So,
did you see one?
have you seen either one of those?
One of those two?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're all even
We're
playing
all
here.
down to 2.
We're even playing here, folks. So that guys, this is our at this
Plus some
moment.
extra.
Oh,
Extras
Seth,
on the
are you going to
side.
ask me a hard question that I don't want to answer? Is that
Yeah,
what's
I am.
happening?
I am. I want to know: is Emma Stone the best actress? Because for me,
Alfie's gun to your head.
Yes.
Answer the question.
Alfie's gun to your foot.
To your foot.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think the thing we struggle with on this show
Pat. Yeah, I'll
is
probably
recency bias.
bro.
Now that you know she can pull off a redhead, you're like, yes, she wins.
She's not even. Not only is she not, doesn't have black hair.
La La Land is a lie? La La Land is a lie.
Almost every movie she's ever been in is a lie.
Exactly
basically.
right. Oh, this is terrible.
Oh, you guys.
Zombieland.
Oh my gosh, Zombieland.
1
I
and
forgot.
2.
Stop it. I can't
Easy
take
A.
it. Jeez
Crazy
Louise.
Stupid Love.
I
Crazy
love
Stupid
that I
Love is
brought
great.
that. I love it. So great.
I have seen her blonde though, and I always assumed she dyed her hair.
Me too.
Oh, she finally got a break.
Now
That
you're gonna
one
say
time.
you're a natural blonde, Mariah.
Yeah.
Nope.
I put the gray in.
Yeah, gray is totally not even
This
real.
is highlighter.
Okay. Poor
Yes.
Things.
What is your answer?
Best movie.
No. What's your answer?
Oh no, 100%. I said that before. There. I started
Best
the
movie.
podcast at Emma's number one. Ruffalo obviously doesn't even get a nod from me. He doesn't even get a nothing.
No.
Wow.
Well, yeah. Sorry, Ruffalo.
So you're Charlie Melton stan.
Heck yeah, melting all the way, baby.
No. I don't
Subtlety,
think so.
baby.
I don't think so.
This is literally Mark Ruffalo.
That's
Blah! What? I'm the smoothest man ever.
Seth.
Blah!
Protesting outside the Oscars.
I know.
You know,
Screw you
Give
guys.
Charlie Melton.
Give Charles
an
his
award.
due. Charles is in charge, folks. Wow.
I think it's between Emma and Sandra for me.
Oh, Sandra's amazing. I have no
For
problem with
Best
that.
Actress.
That's fine. That's cool.
Sandra
I loved
Hüller.
Lily, but it wasn't the most.
3.5
Impactful to
hours.
me.
Scorsese. That's
Yeah,
your
maybe
fault.
that's
part
That's
of it.
Scorsese's fault.
It's not
This
best
movie
picture for
is
me,
the
though.
most.
It's
right?
so great.
Yeah.
Naiad. Annette Bening's doing a lot.
Yeah.
Not as much as this.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Naiad looks. Yeah.
Even physically,
good.
I would argue a lot of the physicality in this is
Yeah,
way
that's true.
crazier.
Annette Bening did an amazing job.
All right, what-
She would be third for me for Best Actress. Maybe.
Best Picture. What's your number one right now? This is the hard one. Is it Oppenheimer? Is it Poor Things? Is it May December? I just threw it out there.
It's not May December. And you know what? I'm so glad we watched that first.
Me too. We've done a pretty good job of like in order
Or like
kind of
going up.
building. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie,
up the
guys. I'm
ladder.
excited for Zone of Interest. Like that's the one I'm kind of
I
the
think
most
American
excited
Fiction
about.
is going to
I
really
think it's gonna be
pleasantly
fun.
I think it's-
surprise me. I think it's going to be like
fun, but I don't think
heartwarming
it's
and
gonna
delightful.
Be, yeah, it'll be like
I think it will
holdovers.
be really easy to watch.
And
Yeah,
I think the
I
best
agree.
actor
That
will be
cast
from
looks
that for
amazing.
me. I think best actor will be picked from that for me.
For
Or
sure.
best supporting actor.
You guys
I have a
literally
Sterling
feeling
K.
about
Brown.
those guys.
What's the best movie tonight, guys? You have not answered the question.
Yeah, because I don't know.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna stick with. I'm gonna go with Poor Things because Oppenheimer is so good and so big and so amazing, but I'm mad that RDJ beat Charles Melton, so I'm going with Poor Things.
I can hear the mix better on
But-
Poor Things than
but
I can
Killian-
in Oppenheimer.
Killian should still get Best Actor.
Oh.
Killian should still get Best Actor for me.
So far, we haven't watched the last two.
It's true,
And
that's
there's
true.
there's another
There we go.
choice.
So
I still
there
might
you go.
give it to Oppenheimer,
Okay, that's
but
fair.
not by a lot.
Not by a lot. Yeah.
And I could be convinced.
Are you Barbie?
I'd say I'm not Barbie,
Okay.
although I will cry every time.
Wow.
There's some really, I think Poor Things, Past Lives, and Oppenheimer are very
Past
good.
Lives. I love that you chose Past Lives because I would be not.
I think
I
they're
would.
very good.
I would choose Past Lives enjoyable wise over Poor Things because
Well,
I love Past
you know,
Lives so much.
Excuse the snobbiness,
You're not
but which
cringing
one
so
would
hard
you
in Past
watch
Lives.
over and over again? You know, what would you go back to?
Well, I watched Poor Things twice, so that was. But
That's
that was because
true.
I went with you though. I would probably watch Past Lives again for sure. I'd watch Holdovers over and over.
yeah, it's going to
Holdovers
be our
is
new
one of
go-to
my-
Christmas, maybe.
It's a lot of cursing, so it's not good for all the kids. But it's Holdovers
Well, it's
is
fine
very
for mine.
fun.
He'll curse anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Barbie will be.
It's interesting. I rewatched
yeah.
Interstellar today, and I
Oh,
don't
so-
know the next time I will watch Oppenheimer, though. You know?
So yes,
And
but
that's the only one I got my husband to watch with me.
and Interstellar has Matthew McConaughey. I'll be honest. He looks
All right.
all right. Well, and there's less nudity in Interstellar, so it's easier to watch with a bigger group of people. I'm just like
Not as many boats either.
not as many boats. Not as many boats.
Or
I-
bombs.
Well, but there's a lot of water and ships.
I'd watch
There's different
Dunkirk
types of boats.
over and over again for
Really?
sure. Oh yeah, love Dunkirk.
I mean, I like
Yeah,
it.
I mean, Oppenheimer's kind of like a tough. Oppenheimer's a little bit like going to school. Like you're like you feel.
Yeah, it's courtroom. It's like Anatomy of a Fall. I don't know if I'll watch Anatomy of a Fall again.
I would
but I
watch that
feel-
more than Oppenheimer, maybe.
I feel
But
smarter.
but I don't know if I would say it would be the best picture pick.
Interesting.
I feel like I learned something, but it's not like a rewatch. I don't think rewatch is a good. That's
No,
like
I
what's
don't
our
think that's
favorite
a
movie
good-
versus
exactly
what the best
right.
picture
You
is.
know,
right?
you know what Oppenheimer is missing? Animals.
Hybrid animals?
Well, they
There's not
had
an-
them, but
there's
they were
not-
gone now.
Yeah, they radiated those guys. I would say lack of animals.
Okay,
might
guys.
take it away.
Before we do our final poor things thing, what is the most watchable movie of the year last year, 2023? Most watchable movie of the year. Most rewatchable movie of the year.
Past Lives, Barbie,
Barbie. Okay,
those
that's
are
fair.
both pretty. easy to
Barbie's
watch
very
again.
rewatchable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I might throw out one of the two movies Tom Cruise made. Sorry, but very rewatchable.
Don't say the new. Mission
Very
Impossible.
rewatchable.
'Cause
I
it was
rewatched
not.
Mav, but I did not watch
It was
Mission Impossible.
not. It was Mav was 2 years ago, by the way, guys. That's 2020.
Oh, it was?
Oh,
By the
I
by,
don't know how
folks.
time
But
works.
you
'Cause-
know what? I wouldn't watch it for Tom Cruise. I'd watch it for Val
I was
Kilmer.
literally laughing in 2020 in the new Mission Impossible. I'm like, hey, look, we're on a train again. Oh, look, we're jumping off a helicopter again. I'm like, come on, man.
Oh, look, you can't trust somebody
Yeah. It's so
that you thought you could.
so bad.
Uh,
Yeah, Barbie's probably up there though. I mean,
I would rewatch
I
Holdovers,
could be
but I
Barbie.
think
There
it would be
wasn't-
seasonal.
the other one would be, of course, like Spider-Man, the animated one. Spider-Man 2.
yeah,
Watch that
That's
one.
pretty good.
Fast 10, of course.
Clearly.
Yeah, I mean the other Holdovers still is up there for me. I've watched
Super
Mario
Mario.
so many times because of Dottie, and then
Yeah.
I have rewatched
John
Across
Wick.
the Spider-Verse
pretty
multiple
good, too.
times.
Yeah.
So that's probably
I've only seen the first one. I have not seen the new one.
Second one's
Mutant
cool, too.
Mayhem.
Yeah, it's good. Oh,
Air. That's pretty rewatchable.
Oh, I'd watch Air all day long. That was the movie I was just thinking of, actually. I loved Air. It got very little Oscar noms because there's been a lot of good movies out here, but I loved it. It was
Yeah.
such a fun. It's
That's
not
great.
quite. It's not quite Moneyball, but it's close. You know what I mean? Like it's a very Moneyball-esque feeling. You got these great characters. You got all the actors. I love every role that the actor is playing. I'm like, perfect. Jason Bateman as like the kind of hateable but
so
likable.
good.
Oh,
Yeah.
so perfect. Yeah, Error is probably my favorite. My favorite fun movie. That would be my favorite fun
You're
movie.
saying I should watch it.
What? As an
It's on Prime right now.
Oregonian,
I
it is your
know.
obligation to watch Air. As an
I know.
Oregonian,
I
you
think
must
maybe that's
watch
why
Air.
I fought it for so long.
I mean, come on, what's the hate? All right, guys, your review for Poor Things. I will give you 10 seconds while I sing the random song that's not Jeopardy at all. Do do do.
Stop you.
Wait, we got it.
It's like-
I don't
Stop
want.
singing.
It's
I
like
don't want us to get taken down.
it's like a
for music.
Stairway Denied.
Poor Things. What did you say at the beginning, Seth? Is a
Poor
journey of
man's
self-discovery, empowerment,
Oh. That was
and
surprising.
absurdist comedy that you should check out if you're comfortable with a lot of nudity and a lot of cutting bodies. Period. Publish that headline.
Check. Okay, good.
And I didn't mention any of the actors, but they're good too.
Want to see Emma Stone naked? Poor Things.
Yeah. If you want to know,
What the Hulk and Gwen look like having. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Mark Ruffalo in a girdle.
You've all wondered it.
Get ready.
Oh, jeez. Okay, Mariah, what you got?
Poor Things is a superbly acted story that combines fantasy with science fiction and gives you a fun twist on a classic Frankenstein story.
Boom. That's great. That's great.
Heartwarming and full of nipples.
So,
Cut!
Most
Cut that!
nipples.
Edit.
Yeah, yeah.
That should just be the Instagram clip.
All right. How do you pronounce?
Heartwarming
How
and
beautiful
Yorgos
nipples.
Lanthimos.
nipples.
Okay, here we go. I gotta start with the.
Emma
say
Stone
it one more time,
is
Pat.
a
Give me-
natural blonde.
And you figured that out in this movie. No.
I mean, they obviously
They died
dyed
more than her-
multiple things.
Oh,
That was a hairpiece.
Oh,
Double
Hair
hairpiece.
makeup, that was a merkin, as they're called.
It was a big.
All right, here we go. Here's my on the spot. Holy crap, Yorgos! Punch me in the face and make me realize what is movie making. Why you gotta do this, bro? Do yourself a favor. Check out Poor Things. Emma Stone, you just got best actress. Thank you. You're welcome. I don't know.
Dudebros.com.
Thank you.
T-Rose.com.
You're welcome. I don't know.
I don't know.
I didn't think I'd say.
Am I talking to myself?
I'm going to highlight this thing, but I didn't think I'd say merkin on this podcast, but I have now. So
It was our first Merkin. Maybe not the last.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, I'm glad we did this movie. I was terrified to do this movie. I'll be honest. I knew it was going to be a very controversial, but honestly,
I don't think it was as controversial as.
No, as what Oppenheimer?
I think it is. Yeah, I think the
tastefully
nudity in
done.
Oppenheimer is more questionable than the nudity in this movie. I think what feels weird though is that whole how old is this person sort
Yeah,
of at
for
any of these
sure.
things.
It's a suspension
she
of
consent?
disbelief. Suspense
And
of
it's a
disbelief.
fantasy. Don't worry about it.
And I think all the things you hate about like the set, like the
Focus
weirdness,
on the
makes
half
it
animals.
fantasy. Makes it fantasy.
Focus on
Like,
the half
I think
animal
that stuff that
pets.
annoys you makes it like, oh, this is a cartoon. It's not real.
Half
And
animal.
so yeah, but it is the most
Could you
the most interesting movie I've seen this year.
Pig chicken.
for the picture?
Yeah.
Can you do the monocle on the chicken half animal? Or does-
Pig chicken.
Yeah. Could you do that for me?
I think there is a
Again.
shot of Emma Stone feeding
With the
one. So
feeding
you
one,
could
that
maybe
would be
do that
good.
one. Yeah.
And I think she's clothed, so I can actually use that shot.
No
so that's
merkin.
good.
Ah, there
Yeah,
you go.
That's good.
There you go.
Not murking around.
Oh my goodness, guys! Thanks for listening. This is How to Be a Movie Snob. I'm Seth,
Mariah.
and
Patrick.
we just reviewed Poor Things, another Oscar contender. Thanks for listening. Subscribe. Keep listening to us, watching movies, and we'll see you next week with another Oscar potential winner. Thanks for listening, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Okay. Okay.
See, boop.